What is up, YouTube friends and trailblazers? How are we today? I'm back with another guide video. Again, I'm not doing a character guide today. What I am actually doing is I'm going to consolidate a bit of character guide information into helping you pick the best light cone for each of your 4-star characters. Now, before the video does get into it, I will do some clarifications. I'm only going to be doing 3-star and 4 stars for each unit. It's not because I don't think putting a 5-star weapon is appropriate on each of your 4-star characters. I love some 4-star characters, and you can see, I'm going to post my Genshin account. Like, I'm not afraid to summon for 5-star weapons or anything like that. It's just that if I started to do 5-star weapons for each character as well, it gets a bit too much focused on heavy investment, and I don't want that. In my opinion, all the 4-star characters in Honkai Star Rail are usable, and so I wanted to emphasize some of the more accessible options that we do have. Without further ado, I'm not going to waste too much more time on the introduction. I will break down each of the video sections by initially path, and then it's going to go into character order. So there's no preference here. We're going to kick things off with erudition. If you like the video, please feel free to leave a like, a comment, or a subscription. If you don't like the video, I don't know, comment and say you hate me. That's fine. Anyway, let's get into it. So, erudition, starting with Herta. So, Herta, if you don't know how she works, basically, most of her damage can be started to tallied up with her ice follow-up damage. And so, for a good 4-star option, I'm going to recommend Birth of the Self. It's just a really good option. It's going to help you ramp up your follow-up attack damage, helping her do what she does best. Additionally, if you are focusing on a follow-up attack damage build for Herta, you can actually drop the, and I don't want to do too much about relics in this video, but you could actually drop your speed relic on her feet and go all in on attack and just let her wrap up her damage through follow-up attacks. Easy. For 3 stars, go either Databank or Saga City. They're both ultimate damage buffs, so they're not follow-up here, and I know that's kind of a big meh for her, but honestly, ult damage, never a bad thing, just to let her do what a 4-star character can do well. On to Serval. So, Make the World Clamor is a great weapon on her for your 4-star option. We actually got a copy for free with the recent web event, so everyone should have one. It does have some energy regen and an increase to her ultimate damage, which is basically where Serval's big modifier comes from. It's an easy pickup for me. For 3 stars, same as Herta, go with Databank or Saga City, whichever you have superimposed more of, to be honest. I think Databank does perform slightly better on Serval, but either option's fine. Both 3 stars work great on her. Finally, mixing things up, we've got Qingque, our quantum erudition character. To me, it's an easy pickup. Go for Today is Another Peaceful Day. Basically, she has an ult cost of 140, and so she stands to gain the most benefit from this light cone. You can also farm this from the Forgotten Hall / your Echo of War chip thingamajiggies, so it's very easily farmable to get 5 superimposed copies. I'd go for this light cone 100% if you are running Qingque, just to help her do what her kit is meant to do. She's very easily she's not the strongest DPS, but she's very easily meant to be a DPS. And so, again, 3-star options. This isn't laziness, but Databank and Saga City, they are going to be the consistent options for Qingque. Moving on to Destruction, and we're going to start with Arlan here. So, Arlan, if you don't know how he works, he reduces his own HP with his skills who deal increased damage. The lower the HP, the higher the damage goes. And so I'm going to recommend a Secret Vow. It's a really good boss killer light cone in general, but if you don't know how it works, it actually increases his damage if the enemy has higher HP than the wearer, which with Arlan's skill, going to proc pretty often. Really great light cone on him. For 3-star, Mutual Demise is a great option. It's going to give him some crit rate just from using his own skills, because he's never going to be at the 80% health mark that is required for the crit rate to fit in. Great weapon, really like this one. Our next Destruction character is Hook. So, okay, I did some numbers on this one. I can put them on screen. There's a few options. Just on recommending a 4-star option for Hook, I'm actually going to go with Woof Walk Time. Basically, this weapon increases attack and damage against enemies inflicted with burn, and Hook is usually run in a burn team. Now, on paper, because the attack stat is lower than most other 4-star weapons, basically it looks like the worser of a few evils, but I put in some basic main stat maths for her. I didn't do substats or whatever, and I ran a few different options. So I ran Woof Walk Time, a Secret Vow, and Nowhere to Run, and they all come off as very, very similar. The reason I'm going to say go with Woof Walk Time if you want to run Hook is because these comparisons are all at super imposition 0, but given that this is a weapon that you can pick up from the Forgotten Hall, you could also very easily farm this weapon up. So this might be a more easy choice for you, but with Hook, any of the 3-4 stars will actually work. For 3 stars, a different DPS weapon for Hook than I did for Arlan. I'm going to say go with Collapsing Sky, just because it's a basic DPS attack weapon. It's going to help her run across her whole kit. Okay, moving on to Harmony characters. So, starting with Asta. For the 4-star option, I'm going to recommend Memories of Past. It's going to increase her break effect and give her some self-energy sustain. It's a really good breaking affinity with her bouncing skill. I don't know if you know this, but Asta does a really good job of breaking down enemies with a fire weakness, just from the amount of time she can hit fire damage anyway. She's not energy hungry per se, so the second effect sounds like it's wasted on her, but if you don't know, Asta's main point is to get off that ultimate speed buff as often as she can, and so this weapon is only going to help her do that. For 3-star options, we do have Meshing Cogs. It's going to let you get some regen energy if she attacks or is hit by damage, and so again, just running towards getting that ultimate off as soon as you can. Our other Harmony character is Tingyun, everyone's favourite character, and we know why. She's just great. But the 4-star I really like on her is actually the Battle Pass weapon, Carve the Moon, Weave the Clouds. It has 3 random buffs, but they're all really good stat buffs in it. I did speak about this in my BP Lightcone video. It's just a great weapon. You could also, to be fair, put this on Asta, but I do think it shines better on Tingyun. But if you don't want to spend your Battle Pass redemption on a Lightcone, the 3-star option, Meshing Cogs, so same again for Asta, is really great on her. It's going to give you energy regen, and it's just never a bad thing on your supports to be able to let them get their ults off. Moving on to the hunt, and starting with Dan Heng. So Only Silence That Remains is an overall attack decrease as a 4-star option. When he's fighting a lower group of enemies, it also gives him crit rate. It's your generic DPS stat stick for a 4-star. There's not much to say. I just think this is the best weapon for him. For your 3-stars, I'm pretty flexible. You can go for either darting arrows or arrow as either light cone options. They're going to be great on him, just as, again, they're basically there to improve your damage output. Our other Hunt Path character, Sushang, I don't want to copy Dan Heng too much on this, but Only Silence Remains is also a great 4-star pickup on her. And to be honest, if you are building it on Dan Heng, then at least you can just swap the light cone over, depending on which actual character you want to take in. So essentially having one light cone shared across the two. As an alt, if you do want to give everyone a separate light cone, Swordplay is a really good, strong investment piece for her as a 4-star light cone option. It's a stacking light cone, so as the battle goes on, it's going to give her more damage output. For 3-stars, same as Dan Heng unfortunately, but go with darting arrow or arrows for the exact same reasons described with Dan Heng. They kind of do a similar job. On to Preservation. So March the 7th is our Preservation character. Now, this one gets a bit tricky. I don't want to go into too much detail, but it changes depending on if you are running co with Clara, then you might want to optimize your kit differently, because if you are running co with Clara, you don't want to put any kind of weapons with taunt on. So just something to bear in mind, and I've tried to avoid that in these 4-star recommendations, but definitely look into kind of different builds and play around. I have seen some people saying that she can be awkward to build, but just throw defense on her. Anyway, I think day 1 of my new life is going to be a basic best in slot for her, because it's increased defense, which is what her shield scales off of, and then the damage resistance for all allies is just going to be Chef's Kiss, because she isn't an AoE shielder, so it's going to help with that kind of initial cleave or AoE damage that some of the teammates might take. You can just drop this weapon on her and forget it's there. If you are not running her with Clara, you can drop Landau's Choice on her to give her a bit more taunt efficiency. The shield is smaller because she's running with no defense percent scaling on the light cone, but now that she has some innate damage mitigation in her own kit and some natural taunt, she's going to be able to be there as a more self-sufficient shielding tank who can just apply the shield to herself. You may be thinking, well, what about We Are Wildfire, because you said that's a good weapon in your other video. Well, in that case, thanks for watching that video, but I do think this goes too much more into the vibe of an AoE shield kind of weapon, and so it's more of a kind of Gepard Fire MC weapon. I'm ignoring that one. I would go with either of the two mentioned at the start. And then for 3-stars, so Amber is actually a really important light cone to watch because it's really strong on her. It gives 2 defense increases, so potentially 2 32% increases at maximum superimposition, and because it is a 3-star weapon, you might be able to actually superimpose this quicker, and you might find that just the flat defense increase works better on March 7th. Give it a test around. I ran a few numbers. It came pretty close to some of your 4-star options. Okay, on to Abundance. Natasha, I love this character so much, let's build her right. I really like post-op conversations on Natasha. The idea here is that you will get your AoE heal, so your ult off more often, from ramping up your ult output. The healing is boosted with this weapon, and you can save your E for people that actually need spot healing, i.e. your tank/shielder. If you don't know, Natasha's E has a debuff cleanse in it at trace 1, so you need this up when it's actually needed. It's got higher innate HP than something like QPQ, so I do prefer post-up over Quid Pro Quo, and then it lets me just swing basics into breaking enemies' toughness or wanting to charge skill points because I have quicker AoE ults, so I'm not always trying to spam her E too much. She's not becoming a drain on my total skill points throughout the battle. 3-star cornucopia goes great on her. It increases her healing on her skill and all, which is where all the healing comes from. It's a nice decent budget boost to her pure healer role, which is what again I like to build her for. Finally, moving into Nihility, let's start with Pela. So I'm going to skip Resolution Shines as Pearls for now. I just think on Pela it's not as beneficial because she is a defense breaker, so she can do up to 40% defense break. So I just think the 16% is wasted on her, even though I think Resolution Shines as Pearls is one of the stronger 4-star light cones in the game. Just on Pela, not right now, it's more for, you know, your Well or maybe even your Sampo, which we'll come to in a second. So for Pela, I'm going to say good night and sleep well. It is a DPS increase. Nihility kind of have this sub DPS and debuffer role combined into one. And to be honest, if you are bringing Pela, it's because the enemy is tanky. And so you're breaking defense because you want to increase overall damage output. And I just think good night and sleep well is a bit more synergistic with the goals of what Pela is intended to do. I don't really like any 3-star Nihility cones on Pela, but if I had to pick one, I would say Void just because the effect hit rate, it can't hurt as a 3-star pickup. Finally, our last character of the day, let's go into Sampo. So Eyes of the Prey is going to be my 4-star light cone pick to help ramp up his damage output and help get those wind shears off. If you're bringing Sampo, you are bringing him specifically for that role in my opinion, so this is a bit more of an obvious choice. However, I did mention at the start of the Nihility section, he can benefit from Resolution Shines as Pearls of Sweat to imbue some defense break into your enemies too. So if you have that, it's not a bad pickup and it will give him some more all-round team synergy and make him a little less selfish in his role. For 3-star, you can use Void here too. You'll find that Hidden Shadow might be a decent slot on him, giving you bonus damage by following a skill into normal attack rotation. And no, it is worded as next normal attack, not next action, so you could still do something like ult in between. And to be honest, that's all of our characters and their light cones in one short, quick video. Well, quicker than usual anyway. I do hope this helped. Obviously, there will be some differentiation in kind of what you want to pick for each character. And to be honest, that's okay. I just wanted to get short and sweet some advice out there to the viewers on, you know, trying to pick the right light cone. For me personally, I'm having resource issues, I want to say, trying to level up too many light cones for too many different people. And so I just think it's a good opportunity to actually focus your investment. I hope the video helped. If you did enjoy it, please feel free to like or comment or subscribe, all the usual stuff. And if you did enjoy it, I shall see you in the next one or else. Thanks everyone. Bye.